Managing a small team or business comes with a unique set of challenges. With limited resources and manpower, it's easy for things to feel chaotic and out of your control. How can you, as a leader, accomplish your goals while keeping your team engaged, effective, and accountable? This podcast will give you practical strategies you can implement now to lead your team or business to reach its fullest potential. Welcome to the Organizing Chaos podcast with your host, Danny Coleman.
What's going on, guys? Thanks so much for tuning in to another episode of Organizing Chaos, where we find small practical strategies for small teams and small businesses. And today, I'm very excited to have my buddy John Slimack today joining us. He is owner and general manager for Sound Revival Records, correct?
That's correct.
Right? And so Sound Revival Records is located here in Columbia, Tennessee. And this is kind of just continuing my interview series that I'm doing with a lot of local businesses here. If you have any interest in your business being featured on and you have something that you'd like to share with my audience, I'd be happy to hear that. Let's go ahead and, John, tell me about Sound Revival Records, what you guys do here, and how you got involved.
Sure. In short, Sound Revival Records is a recording studio. We have a lot of ambitions for some other things and different paths that we want to take, but in its essence, we do tracking, we do mixing, we do in-house mastering for genres of all sorts. So rap, rock, metal. We haven't done any country yet.
No country yet.
If you do country music,
and you're south of Nashville.
I know,
no country music
weird.
yet. All right, yeah.
But so Sound Revival has been a growing thing with some of the other co-owners that I have within the company.
Yeah.
That kind of culminated within this. So it was founded September of 2017.
Okay.
And then my role kind of got created around February of this year.
Okay.
And since then, we've just kind of been building it and building a brand and getting to know people and recording music.
Word. So you mentioned co-owners. So you own it with a couple different guys, right?
Correct.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
So this speaks a lot to the whole small business, like many hats thing that I'm wearing. Like a lot of people are pitching in on this. How many people are part of your team now?
We're up to 10.
Cool. And everyone's everyone's throwing in to kind of make this happen.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. In a lot of ways, we're operating almost as a collective right now. We all pitch in whatever's needed, and a lot of it is just making sure facilities are taken care of, and then we have different splits that we work out within the collective to make sure everybody's getting their dues, their parts made. But yeah.
Cool. So now I've talked to my audience a lot about the visionary integrator concept. I've talked with you about that before. We like to relate about the fact that we are integrators, and I don't meet a lot of integrators. Whenever I am consulting with a business or I work with one, there's always two parts of it. I can bring kind of like my integrator, like systems kind of skill set to any business and be fulfilled solving the problems there. Mm-hmm. There's maybe more that might be more exciting, industry that might be more exciting to me or whatever, but more or less I can bring it to that. But then there's also my passion, and my passion, and I'm thankful I got to have those combined now, right? I wouldn't say I know my industry yet. My industry is just small businesses. I'm not like picking an industry like music or, the food industry or something like that yet. So for you, I know you are passionate about music too. What do you feel kind of was the bigger draw for you? Was it the opportunity to get to kind of manage a small team, or was it more the music part, or was it a little bit of both?
I'm gonna have to say both at its core. I grew up making music since I was a young teenager, so I've always kind of been like, oh man, I really want to do that when I get older.
Yeah.
And then as I got older, I realized that I can. You can pretty much do whatever you want as long as you're willing to put the time and effort into it. So then I was like, making music and doing that a lot, and I got tied up with John Reese and Matt Costanzo, so two of the other owners of the company, as an artist at that point. And so I got into doing recording sessions, and I got to know them, but I started asking some questions, and I realized that I had strengths that they didn't have within business. Yeah. So it was just really a really fortunate marriage of opportunity. So both.
A little bit of both.
Yeah.
Do you have an album then? Is there a record of yours?
No, I do not. No, I have a lot of songs.
Okay.
I am looking into licensing some of my music.
Oh, okay.
Residual stuff. But,
okay, cool.
No. Most of my efforts now are revolving around managing the studio and producing other people's albums.
Okay, cool. And so as far as where Sound Revival is right now and kind of the vision for where you want to take it, talk to me a little bit about that.
Sure. We consider ourselves a low to low mid-sized studio. We can accommodate 16 tracks multi-track right now. On average, we're recording 4 or 5 different projects with a couple one-offs here and there at any given time. With a recording studio, I should note that it's interesting that like there is no like 1 month sort of thing with a project. Usually they'll carry on for like 4 or 5 months. So managing the cycles with the way money comes in and everything like that's really weird because it varies drastically from month to month. We're focusing a lot on recording right now, as that's our core business, but we're also looking into event coordination, CD duplication, album creation, like the physical. We're looking at like t-shirts, just merchandising, just various ways that we can. I think the best way to put it is that our goal is to lower the threshold of entry for musicians.
Cool.
Into just whatever aspect it is that they want to do. So if you want to come to us and you got a project and you want a CD and you want t-shirts and you want help getting shows, we want to be able to help do that. We would like to do it as cost effectively or no cost up front as we can.
So like when an artist is trying to get their career going, it's not quite as simple as just doing some recordings, put it on Spotify or whatever. You guys are trying to bring those other things like merchandising and like physical CD printing and stuff like that, so they have more to do than just be like hope that someone stumbles upon their music.
Oh, absolutely. Okay. I mean, it's as a musician, if a musician's taking themselves seriously, to a degree, they are a brand, and So when you develop a brand, you have to have products, you have to be able to have brand awareness and be able to put yourself out there. So we're at the fledgling stages of these things right now, but what we're trying to do is just make it to where an artist has these tools necessary so they can actually try to pursue this dream, this passion, however they want to see it or define it. So yeah, you can record your music and put it on Spotify and you'll make some money, but if you want to make a career out of it, you have to have merchandising options, you have to be playing shows. You have to do those things.
And now you guys want to also do that too, booking, like help.
Oh, absolutely.
Yep. That's cool.
On a small level, we're working with a couple artists. We're still kind of hammering out the details, but I've been helping with booking their shows and helping create different marketing strategies and those sort of things for them.
Right on.
Just trial and error right now.
Yeah. So that's where you're at right now. Like, so what do you see is like the grand vision for Sound Revival? Like, where would you like to maybe be in like 5 years with things?
World domination. Now, I think it'd be cool to have it evolve to the point where we might be able to have multiple studios. The options are kind of endless with it. There's this company called Afton. Some musicians are familiar with them, where they're the country's largest independent musician booking agency. So they only work with independent musicians.
So unsigned musicians?
Yeah, unsigned.
Okay.
And they do over 40,000 shows a year.
Wow. Across
the country. So something like that I think is really cool.
Would you want to be that, or would you want to be?
I would like to take their idea and change some of the models with it. A lot of you can go to a lot of details with it, but they have like required ticket sales for shows. I think that's a terrible idea because you're just selling to your fans and your fan base, and the idea is to expand a fan base, not keep milking the same fan base that you have.
Yeah.
But yeah, just find as many ways to reach out to as many artists as possible and help them in any way we can. That's really the essence of it.
I feel like you're like a studio that you just want to be known for having like a lot of heart and like a lot of like concern for the artist's individual success.
John Reese put it best. He's like, we want every artist that comes in here to feel like that we already look at them as Grammy-winning artists, or and they have that experience because we do. We take it seriously because it's cool, it's fun.
So, what do you see as the biggest hurdle? Either maybe if there's multiple, usually it's not just one problem. What are some of the problems that you see you guys facing to try to get to those points?
Organization. So I manage.
Are you saying you're trying to organize chaos?
What? I manage this studio part-time. All of us right now, we all have full-time jobs.
Yeah.
Outside of, trying to run everything that we're doing here. Currently, the biggest issue that we have is like getting everybody into one room sometimes, or...
You said there's 10 people now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard to organize that sometimes. We do a lot of scheduling through the internet, so I'll book something on the calendar, and then I just expect that the other team members are checking the calendar,
right?
And I'll do follow-ups and stuff like that. But so there's still a lot of figuring it out. But yeah, organization is probably the biggest challenge that we have. There's plenty of artists that want to record We have plenty of time amongst ourselves individually, but it's just getting everybody on that same vision and getting them following that.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of fun too, so it's worth it.
And I've mentioned this to you before, obviously, and I was really interested to have you on the show for this reason. But like, I know you work with a lot of creatives, and so typically, when I approach a business, there's one real creative, and that's typically the visionary. It's the person at the top. They had the kind of the idea for the business in the first place, and they may not be creative in like the traditional like creative arts sense, but they're creative in the terms of the way that they see the problem that they're trying to address. And that's what I believe makes an entrepreneur. I was mentioning that earlier when we were talking about real estate. As such, I only usually have to wrangle one creative person to try to focus their energy into, solving the internal problems within their business. How do you go about doing that with working with lots of creatives and you kind of being the one who's probably the most organized out of the bunch?
I let them call me dad.
That's good.
Yeah. Okay, Dad. But no, it's just I find that it's just setting it clear expectations. So like, this is our game plan. This is what we're doing. Just following through. So anytime that we have something come up where we're like, okay, like we're in the process of revising our standard operating procedures within the studio space. So you have all these guys and they're all like, oh, we can do this and all this other stuff, and it's just to gather everybody's ideas and then kind of corral them in. It can be interesting. But
do you have any tips or any methods that you've, anything specifically you've done that's been helpful?
Dude, systems.
Yeah.
I manage the studio part-time. And I would almost say that I don't manage it right now. It kind of manages itself because you put a system in place and then you get everybody doing that system. Yeah. And you keep pounding it. Until they go like, okay, fine, we'll do it.
You gotta get them to break down.
So I mean, that would be the tip. Is just consistency.
Yeah.
And that's probably the hardest thing in just about any aspect of life. Is just to stay at it and stay at it and stay at it. And so sometimes you got to nag, but when you're working with a group of people that really believe in what's going on and what we're doing, it's not as difficult as it would be as if you were just like managing a bunch of fast food employees and like trying to get them onto this new thing, but they don't care.
Yeah, so I was gonna speak to that because like you're dealing with like a bunch of adults, and also some of which are co-owners. How do you kind of tactfully go about getting people to follow the rules when they're really kind of on the org chart, if you will, somewhat equal with you?
Sure, you negotiate. There's a lot of compromise that happens. I think the best thing that I found is we'll adopt your idea if you'll adopt this as well. And so it's a give and take. It's like a marriage.
That's a really good point. I know that I've personally had an issue myself when I've either been an integrator on a team or even in some consultant situations. I felt like for lack of a better word, and I'm not trying to make myself sound cool or anything, but like Darth Vader. And I was kind of like, nope, like one person's just gotta get everybody to get on board so that we can make some progress here. And like you can see a very clear path to success, but it's muddled with other people's thoughts and opinions, and it can be difficult to know when to compromise versus when, like you said, you have to kind of stay on them or be consistent or whatever. It can be difficult to know when you compromise versus when you say like, no, if I don't stay on top of this, we're gonna miss big stuff. We're gonna miss big opportunities, or we're gonna grow much slower than we could otherwise.
Right.
So yeah, that's a really good piece of advice to take away from this, if nothing else. And I know I'm taking that away. Like be better at compromising.
Yeah, you don't like.
It's like you feel like you're being paid to not compromise, or that's why you're there to be like the uncompromising. Like I'm always doing stuff. I'm the consistent one.
But it's true. Compromise is great. And it's like you go into a negotiation for an interview, right? And you go in asking so much, knowing that you're willing to go down, so you ask for more.
It's a good point.
Than what you actually want. That way you have something to concede. So like, okay, I don't need that.
So yeah, what do you have to share with the world that you haven't got to say yet?
If you really, really believe that you can do something, try it. And the younger you are, do that as many times as you can.
The more time you
get. Fail, and try and learn and try not to make the same mistakes over and over. Because if you don't do it, somebody else is going to do it. And so if you really believe in yourself, prove it to yourself and do it.
Yeah, and then sometimes you got to fake it till you make it a little bit.
Yeah,
too,
well,
right?
there's a thing I really liked this. Humans are programmed to win,
Mm-hmm.
and it doesn't matter what it is. We will always win excellently at what we believe. So if you believe that you're going to fail, you're going to fail awesomely,
Yeah.
and you're going to win at that belief.
Okay.
So convince yourself that you're going to win.
I like it.
Yeah.
It's so true. And it's awesome that you're going to do something you're passionate about. The last 2 interviews I did, Amanda Kelton was before this one.
Mm-hmm.
She's, as you know, running county mayor, passionate about that, passionate about community and government. And then before that was the Asgard guys, both Mike and Ryan, the brewmaster and the manager down there. And they also, so I didn't realize this when I started these interview series, but I'm having the awesome opportunity to get to interview people who have, so far it's been 3 for 3, have figured out what their calling is, and they're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And they're doing it in a small business setting, which I think is awesome. So
That is awesome.
anyways, but yeah, thanks so much for being on the show, man. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Definitely.
And tell people, is there anything upcoming that you want to tell people about? Anything, any news or anything like that?
Well, we are getting ready to move. We may or may not have 2 studios in the next couple of months.
Oh, okay.
We're still very scrappy and competitive, so if you don't feel like going up north to record for exorbitant amounts of money, we'll do it. We'll do a pretty good job for much less.
Down here in good old Columbia. And where are you guys located?
1664 Hampshire Pike.
And where can they find you online?
Facebook, Instagram, Sound Revival Records. Yeah.
Awesome. John, thank you so much. Again, I keep thanking you, but I am so grateful.
Yeah, dude, it's great.
And thank you guys so much for tuning in. My buddy John Slimack. I hope you guys have an excellent rest of your day, and we will catch you later.
Want more? Go to DannyColeman.me to download Danny's free small business hiring guide, which includes tips, templates, and tools, plus a step-by-step process you can use to find and keep high-quality employees for your small team or business.